Tonight, we're going to be talking about why your weight loss is stalled. And this is going to clear up a lot of confusion for you ladies. Okay. So let's jump right in here. First off, if we haven't met before, I'm Coach Jonathan. I'm the founder and head coach of the Fit Woman Formula. For well over a decade now, I've helped hundreds of women over 35 lose weight, rebuild their energy, and finally get results that stick. And here's something that I hear all the time. I've heard this multiple times this week. I was losing weight and my weight loss stalled. Okay. Uh, don't know what happened. Don't know what changed. I was doing well and now nothing's moving. Okay. If that sounds like you, I want you to stick with me here. Now, before we go any further, though, if what you hear tonight resonates, maybe you're having this exact same problem and you want to actually fix it. Okay. You can click the link in the comments if you're watching on Facebook, or if you're over on Instagram, you can tap the link in my bio to learn more about how we actually coach women inside the Fit Woman formula and get them results that last without having to do any crazy stuff. Okay. No restrictive diets, no living in the gym, no stupid supplements like you've been seeing all over your feed since really the beginning of the new year and forever, pretty much. Okay. We don't do any of that. All right. Real women, real results that actually last. Okay. Let's talk about plateaus here. First, I want to talk about what a plateau actually is. Okay. And the first question is it actually a plateau? Or are we reacting emotionally to a few frustrating weigh ins? So, to be clear, a plateau is not 2 bad days. Okay. It's not one weekend, it's not 1 week of the scale not moving. That is normal. I want you ladies to hear me. That is normal if the scale does not move for a week. Okay. A real plateau usually means like 3 to maybe even 4 weeks, okay, depending on the person. No downward trend, no change in measurements. Hint, hint, you should be taking measurements, you should be taking progress photos, okay? But we're talking about no change in measurements, no change in progress photos, no change in how clothes are fitting. And I want to say something really important here. You know, when our ladies inside the Fit Woman formula actually do their updates, their weight measurements and progress photos, the scale may stay the same sometimes, or it might even go up while their waistline is coming down, while their clothes are fitting better, okay, while they're dropping sizes. That happens all the time, all right? So remember, the scale is only one data point, it's not the full story. If your waist is shrinking and your strength is improving, you are not stalled, you're progressing, okay? Now, if you're sitting there right now and you're saying, Jonathan, no, nothing's changing. My clothes aren't fitting better. Scale hasn't moved. I don't feel any different. Okay, then we need to go deeper. All right, we need to go a little bit deeper here. Now, a lot of ladies think that they have stalled, but they just don't have the numbers to confirm it. Okay, they don't have any data. They're not looking at their calorie intake. They're not looking at their protein. They're not looking at their steps or their exercise. They're not tracking workouts. So when progress slows down or they're just looking at the scale, it feels kind of mysterious, right? It's not mysterious. This is math, okay? Are you actually in a calorie deficit or do you think you are? Has your food intake slowly crept up? Has movement gone down? Remember, this is energy balance, okay? You may not like to hear it, but at the end of the day, this really is energy balance. It's primarily about calories in, calories out, okay? So has your consistency slipped a little bit? Most stalls are not broken metabolisms, okay? They are small drifts that add up over time. A little bit more snacking, a little less structure, maybe a little less planning, a little less movement. And without any data, you're not going to see it. Okay. You're not going to see it. If I'm resonating with anyone right now, just go ahead and drop a thumbs up in the comments. Let me know that I'm speaking to you here. Is this making any sense? Let me know. Okay. Now, here's a really big one. Okay. And this is where it can be very helpful to have an expert guide you through this. And I want you ladies to listen closely. Even if you're doing everything right, your body adapts. Your metabolism adapts. So as you lose weight, you start to burn fewer calories. Okay? You move less subconsciously. You might not realize it, but you're probably moving less. The calorie deficit that maybe worked 10 or 20 pounds ago might not be working now, especially if you were crash dieting. And this is where a lot of women get stuck, because what they do is they say, okay, well, now I just got to cut calories harder. I have to cut calories harder now. I have to double my workouts. Okay. Extra long workouts, more cardio. They go to more extremes. And that just backfires. Now, we're going to talk about how to fix this. Okay. If you've been in a calorie deficit for a long time, especially if you've been under eating, your metabolism slows down to match that intake. That is normal. That is not a broken metabolism. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. And that's where so many women plateau, and they stay there because guess what? They're too scared to increase their calories. Now, I don't like the term dieting. Okay, that's definitely not what we talk about inside our coaching program. But there's something called, if we want to keep it really simple, you might hear people refer to it as a diet break. Okay, and that's what it is. But these ladies are scared to increase their calories. Maybe that's you, or they don't know how. And so inside our program, we use something called a priming phase. Okay. Sometimes the fix is not cutting more. I'll tell you, we've had a couple ladies come to the program recently that they've been eating very little for years and years. Okay. Not to divulge the age of some of these ladies, but they are of a certain age, and some of them have been eating this way. I'm going to call this dieting. They have been dieting and eating almost nothing and starving themselves for decades. For decades. This would be a very good example where the fix is not cutting more. And I know this sounds so counterintuitive, but the fix is actually gradually increasing your calories strategically so that your metabolism actually picks back up. I always like to use the think about this as an engine, right? And fuel, okay? If you're under fueling your body, is your engine that's trying to burn fat, is it just going to be burning fat like crazy? No, it's not, okay? So this is all about strategically adding in more calories gradually in the right way so that your metabolism picks back up. Okay, so look, we don't panic. We adjust. We adjust, all right? Now, I need to talk about energy a little bit. Energy is not optional. It's the foundation, okay? This is literally a big part of the foundation inside of our coaching program. We call it energy maintenance. And what this means is that your energy is a top priority, not weight loss. Your energy is a top priority. And here's why. Because when you feel good, you move more, you train better, you plan better, you're more consistent. Okay. When you're exhausted and under recovered, progress slows down. And when energy improves, guess what? Weight loss gets easier, not harder. Energy is super, super important. So if you're feeling like crap all the time, you need to be looking at how you're fueling your body, because that's also a very good indicator of what's going on with your metabolism. If you're not feeling good all the time, it's very unlikely that your metabolism is doing you any favors. Okay. So if you're truly stalled, here's what we look at. First, we confirm that you're actually in a deficit. Okay. You need to be in a deficit. Very, very simple, but a requirement. All right. Second, if you've been in a deficit for too long, under eating for too long, we might ease you into, again, what we call a priming phase, okay? Gradually increase calories, restore your energy, okay? Then reintroduce a controlled deficit, okay? Now, third is to make small adjustments, not extreme ones, okay? Remember, weight loss is not a straight line. It's a staircase, okay? So A lot of the times what we need to do is again get a baseline with your food, with your movement, and then we can make little adjustments from there. But again, this is a staircase, okay? We don't want to see weight loss that just flies down in a straight line. I'm going to tell you, a lot of ladies obsess over the speed of which they're losing weight, at which they're losing weight. And it's always, hey, how fast am I going to lose this weight? I will tell you right now that if you are thinking that way, it's a recipe for disaster. The faster you lose the weight, the more likely it is that it's going to come back just as fast and then some. So we want to lose and then stabilize and then adjust, and then you're going to keep losing again. Okay. I really, really hope this was helpful. I hope that you ladies chime in and drop some questions on the replay if you're watching on Facebook. Okay. But this is why structure matters. This is why you need things like calorie targets and protein goals. And yes, you need a training plan. But I want to be really clear here. That is just the surface level stuff, okay? Because if you're like most women, the real struggle hasn't been losing the weight. You've probably lost weight a million times. And I'm going to tell you real quick here, just as a side note. If you've got it in your mind, I know how to lose weight, but you're not keeping it off, we need to get honest. You don't know how to lose weight. Because who cares how many times you've lost weight or how much if you can't keep it off? But again, the things I just mentioned, the calorie goal, the protein, all of that, the training program, that's all good. That's all stuff that we're really good at. Okay. And you need to be looking at it, but it's surface level. Okay. You need to be looking at things like your relationship with food. You need to be looking at things like your body image. Are you picking yourself apart every time you go get dressed? Are you having a mini anxiety or full on anxiety attack every time you walk into your closet? Right? This back and forth cycle, the yo yo dieting. Okay. Are you a yo yo dieter? This is where the deep work matters. This is where you need to go deeper than just surface level. Okay. So, look, if you're on the struggle bus right now, maybe you're doing this yo yo dieting thing, or maybe you can really relate to what you heard tonight, okay? And your weight loss is stalled and you're tired of guessing and you're frustrated. You know, inside the Fit Woman formula, we've helped hundreds of women over 35 unlock the energy and confidence of their 20s while dropping 2+ sizes in 12 weeks. Okay. We've actually got 2 spots right now open in our 12-week program for women over 35. Now, there's no crazy restriction here. There's no living in the gym. Okay. You don't have to cut out carbs. You don't have to be taking any stupid supplements. We don't do any of that. All the things that you've already tried, you might be sitting there saying, well, how is this any different? It's very different. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. We actually back it with something called our 14-day promise. You're able to come in for 2 weeks. You don't like it, not a good fit. You don't see the value in this. You don't see how it's different. You don't see how we're supporting you and that you're on the right path to change. We give you your investment back. No questions asked, no contracts or anything. That's how confident we are. And I'll tell you, we haven't had anyone take us up on that since we've been doing that. Almost a decade now. Okay. But this isn't about burnout, okay? So if you're on Facebook, you can click the link in the comments, okay? If you're on Instagram, you can go tap the link in my bio. You can learn more, see testimonials. And if you want, you can actually book a confidence call with me, okay? And I'll hop on myself personally, and we'll figure this out, and we'll see if it's a good fit. Primarily, what we'll do is we'll solve your problems, and we'll see what's going on. Again, maybe your weight loss is stalled. Maybe you think it's stalled and it really hasn't. That's the type of thing that we would figure out on this call together. Okay. So, again, if you have questions, drop them below, even if you're watching the replay, and I'll come back and answer them. Ladies, I hope this was helpful. Have a great evening. We'll talk soon.